Where did Jesus go in those 3 days between his death and resurrection? An empty tomb stands as a silent witness, foreshadowing the revelation of an enigma that is about to be known. The last hours of Jesus unfolded in a scenario marked by the weight of destiny. Golgotha, now the backdrop for the crucifixion, resonated with pain in the face of the redeeming tragedy. The air was charged with tension due to the enraged crowd and the morning sun of the Jewish day. Though present, it seemed to diminish before the imminent sacrifice. Jesus stumbled forward under the weight of the cross on his shoulders, arriving at Calvary amidst the mockery of many and the disdain of others. In the twilight hours of Golgotha, a scene unfolded that would shake the soul and the earth. The cross, erected as a symbol of suffering and redemption, bore the weight of the Son of God, while to his right and left, 2 criminals shared in the same agony. The 3 bodies, marked by suffering, stood as testimonies of the drama unfolding on Golgotha. The crowd, in a somber murmur, watched the scene, while the annoyed soldiers rigorously applied the punishment and condemnation. Before proceeding, we cordially invite you to subscribe to our channel to ensure you do not miss our future content. Please consider liking this video and sharing your insights in the comments section. Your engagement is greatly valued. One of the crucified criminals joined in the chorus of mockery against the Son of Man, while the other thief, amidst his own torment and revealing through his eyes both physical and spiritual agony, felt something stir within him. In this moment of desperation, the realization of his sin became an unbearable weight, and in an act of humility, he turned his gaze to the one hanging beside him. Do you not fear God? Since you are under the same sentence of condemnation, we are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve, but this man has done nothing wrong. The words of the repentant thief unveiled the transformation occurring in his heart amidst their shared pain. He recognized the justice of his own condemnation and, in a turn of faith, addressed Jesus with a request that would alter his destiny. Remember me when you come into your kingdom. Amid his own suffering, Jesus looked at him with eyes full of compassion. His response transcended physical torment and touched the very essence of divine grace. Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise. The pronouncement from Jesus resonated powerfully, overshadowing the suffocating pain. Amidst death and suffering, redeeming grace emerged, opening the gates of paradise for the repentant thief. The assurance of everlasting life, voiced with firm conviction, turned the man's hopelessness into optimism. In the midst of the redemptive narrative at Golgotha, Jesus' message to the remorseful criminal offered an initial hint about the enigmatic future that awaited him beyond death. This pronouncement reached deeper than the physical suffering, probing into the forthcoming mystery. The contrite thief instantly felt the grace of redemption. Jesus extended not just solace with the assurance of entering paradise, but also disclosed how his fate was deeply connected with that of the man, suggesting, "You will be where I am." In biblical tradition, paradise was associated with Eden, symbolizing the flawless harmony between God and people before humanity's downfall, serving as the abode of God's presence, a domain untouched by sin or sorrow. Entry into paradise signified healing, making amends, and restoring a close relationship with the Creator. Jesus, the anticipated Messiah, became the conduit linking humanity's fall with divine restoration. His crucifixion and his vow to bring the thief to paradise were indicative of the salvation effort that surpasses the confines of time and space. In referencing paradise as the forthcoming journey's goal, Jesus signaled that in the ensuing enigmatic 3 days, he would delve into the divine realm, setting the stage for mankind's reconnection with God. Paradise represented not a tangible location, but a restored state of fellowship with God that Jesus was set to fulfill through his passage from death to resurrection. His mission foresaw the reclamation of human closeness to the divine, as the dark shadow of the cross gave way to the glorious promise of paradise. The interval from death to resurrection turned into a period of expectancy, with the Redeemer serving as a divine navigator, leading the way to triumph over sin and death. At Golgotha, the event was marked by deep divine symbolism. Jesus, hung between heaven and earth, took on the burden of humanity, forging a fresh, vibrant path to the Father's presence through his sacrifice. As the sun heralded the forthcoming demise of the Son of Man by withdrawing its light at noon, darkness enveloped the land until around 3 in the afternoon. In this pivotal moment, as Jesus cried out, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit," the veil of the temple was torn from top to bottom. Through these words, Jesus yielded his life, marking a period of profound spiritual connection. Even amidst agony, Jesus endeavored to forge a strong bond with the Father, his utterance reflecting complete faith and surrender to the unfolding divine will. This act was not merely one of acceptance of his looming death, but also a deep confirmation of his singular bond with God. The acceptance of his Spirit by the Father's hands signified both the act of passing and the transition to a realm beyond mortal existence. Jesus' journey in the subsequent 3 days until his resurrection was deeply entwined with his Father's benevolent care. Golgotha transformed into a hallowed ground of heavenly exchange, where the wind mourned softly and shadows gathered ominously. A remarkable silence pervaded, as if all of creation paused in anticipation of the unfolding events. Suddenly, the sky was illuminated by thunder, a manifestation of divine displeasure echoing through the air with intense sorrow. Each thunderous sound mirrored the grief of anguished souls. The clouds, once calm, merged into dark veils concealing the suffering of Christ, the Redeemer. As darkness dominated the daylight, wrapping Golgotha in a veil of gloom, the earth vibrated with the pain of the divine. It seemed as though the very ground writhed and moaned in response to the agony endured by the Lamb of God. The stones, eternal sentinels of history, split as if to mirror the profound rupture in creation's heart. Amidst these events, Jesus' Spirit, committed to the Father, journeyed through celestial realms, awaiting the moment when the vacated tomb would herald his victory over death. As evening approached, the setting sun bathed Jerusalem in a fading golden glow, the day's noise slowly fading into a quiet solemnity. Joseph of Arimathea, a just and merciful man, a covert follower of Jesus, made his way urgently to the palace of Pilate, the seat of Roman authority. The atmosphere grew increasingly heavy with unease following the execution of the King of the Jews, intensifying with each moment. The grandeur of Pilate's palace stood as a stark reminder of his significant role in determining the fate of Jerusalem during these chaotic times. Joseph of Arimathea, a notable Pharisee, stepped into a pivotal moment in history. Standing before Pilate, Joseph confidently requested to take down Jesus' body from the cross, a plea that dared to question the Supreme Council's judgments. Struck by Joseph's sincerity, Pilate consented to his request. With this approval, focus shifted to Jesus' motionless form on the cross. Led by Joseph, a group moved with solemn respect towards the crucified figure, carefully removing the nails to release Jesus from his place of suffering. The body was respectfully lowered, signaling the end of suffering and the start of a new chapter. Joseph carefully wrapped the body in fine linen, preparing it for burial in a new tomb carved from rock, a final resting place not yet used. The procession moved towards the tomb, a mysterious sanctuary amidst the forest, laying Jesus down with gentle precision. After the burial, the tomb was sealed, casting a profound silence over the site. Earth embraced the one who had united the temporal with the eternal. Though the tomb seemed to signify the Messiah's end, it held only his physical form. His spirit, cradled by the Father, readied for the monumental events to follow in the afterlife. During the interim of death and resurrection, a remarkable event occurred in the spiritual realm. Jesus, fully aware of his divinity, ventured into Hades, confronting the darkness to undertake a significant mission. As the vanquisher of death, He delved into the depths that once confined the souls of the departed. Not as a captive, but as a liberator, Jesus reclaimed dominion from the darkness, annulling the accusations against humanity and liberating them from their spiritual burdens. Within this shadowy domain, the truth of his authority shined brightly. Challenging the forces that presumed victory at the cross, each of his steps echoed a victory song, a melody of redemption that filled the corridors of Hades. The chains binding souls shattered, and the proclamation of triumph over death resounded through the darkest reaches. The glow of hope penetrated the gloom, and the news of Jesus' victory spread throughout the shadowy realm. Jesus reclaimed the authority that darkness had wielded over humanity. By his divine mandate, he annulled the charges against humanity, liberating them from the burdens of guilt that oppressed their spirits. Within this shadowy abode, the light of truth shone with intensity. Jesus declared his supremacy over the darkness, countering the entities that presumed their victory at the crucifixion. His presence echoed a victory chant, a song of redemption that permeated Hades.